get it done. Okay, so call in order the meeting to order. Welcome everybody here. Hopefully you can hear us. If you have a cell phone, if you would please put that on mute or dial whoever's trying to watch and let them listen. We'll open up with a moment of silence. Thank you. And if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a brief agenda for out front tonight, so I'd ask if there are any questions involving the agenda. And if not, a motion to accept.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Vansley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Scott. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now it's time for citizen comments. I don't have anyone that has signed up for this evening. But our guest here, if she'd like to address anything, you have free reign. It's just you.
Oh, me? Oh, there's
We're
plenty.
thankful for you.
There's plenty I would love to say.
Well, we appreciate your steadfastness in coming to be with us. All right, I'll close the citizen comment time. We don't have anything on the consent agenda. That moves us on to the approval of our minutes from August 26, 2024. Are there any additions, corrections to those minutes?
Mr. Chair, I would like to move we approve the minutes.
Hi, John. Hang on one second. I'm going to
Vansley, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We don't have any public hearings or presentations this evening. We have one action item, which is consideration of a resolution authorizing the submission of the Virginia Make Ready Initiative grant application on behalf of Shentel, which is resolution R 090924-01. Who's got that one tonight?
I'm gonna cover that. Mr. Putney had a scheduling conflict this evening. So, in 2024, the General Assembly allocated $30 million in funding to the Department of Housing and Community Development to address areas in the Commonwealth that have high make-ready costs for the internet service providers. Make-ready costs are essentially utility pole replacements, mid-span utility pole installations, and in certain situations, underground fiber projects previously planned as aerial networks for broadband expansion. So Shentel has been our internet service provider who has had a myriad of challenges with the aerial spans that they've been working on. They've been working with the utility providers, whether it be Southside Electric or Bedford Electric or Appalachian Power. But while they've been doing that, they've been absorbing a substantial amount of costs in order to make that happen. So this is a grant program in order to try to offset some of those costs, but also hopefully accelerate the process so they can have a better chance of finishing the project in a timely manner. So what Shentel has identified is a little bit over $1 million, $1,118,000 worth of make-ready expenses that they'd like to apply for through this grant effort. Of that $1.1 million, $780,000 of it is for aerial expenses and $338,000 is for buried expenses. So there is a 25% match for this grant, and Shentel is going to cover that match, so there's no cost to the county. In fact, the county, I think we're strengthening the grant application and helping Shentel because we're going to provide an in-kind match with our staff services. So, Mr. John Putney and Eric Smedley have been dedicated a good bit of time to Shentel's project. So not a lot of other localities have had the amount of staff interaction that we provide to these internet service providers. So So we're going to provide that as an in-kind match of what we've already spent on salary expenses, which I think will help our application. So anyways, the applications will starting to be reviewed on September 12th, and Chantel has sent us a draft application today. So pending the approval of the board this evening, we will proceed with submitting that grant application later this week.
Okay. Any questions for Robert about that?
They are still getting all the money from Black Hill too, right?
Say that again.
No.
Any discussion from the board on this?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass resolution R090924-01.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Vansley. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Vansley?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion passes. All right. That moves us down to our closed session. Mr. Skelly?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would call for a motion to go into closed session pursuant to sections 3711A6, expenditure of public funds regarding the animal shelter, and 3711A19, cybersecurity issues regarding landfill communications.
I make a motion we go into closed session.
Okay, motion for Mr. Scott. Second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Davis. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are in closed session.
Call for a motion to come out of closed session.
Mr. Johnson and Mr. Scott.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're back in open session, whereas the Beverly County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Beverly County Board of Supervisors that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Beverly County Board of Supervisors does hereby certify that, but to each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies. And only such public business matters were identified in the motion convened in closed meeting was heard, discussed, or considered by the Bedford County Board of Supervisors. Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Vansley?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
And Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
So certified.
All right. So back on our agenda, board committee reports. I don't have any other than Mr. Scott and I met with the RWA on our sewer and water committee and talked about the possibility of sewer service being extended out Falling Creek. And they'll be working on some numbers to see what that looks like. Anything else from our meeting?
I'm ready to get in.
All right, board comments. Anything any board member wants to bring up this evening?
I got some. And we recently had a presentation by our fire marshal. Anyway, I had the opportunity to deal with that department Friday evening. I got home about 6, and I noticed a yellow haze around my property and my community. In fact, I live a mile south of 460. And when I got out of my pickup, as I looked to the north toward the mountains on the north side of 460, far away, I could see sort of like a yellow haze. Anyway, I could smell it, and I went in the house. Of course, my wife and I, we went out and sat outside for a while, and she started getting really concerned. What is that smoke? Where's it coming from? So I went around to the front of the house, and I could see some smoke rising to the east of my house across the road. And so I thought, well, shoot, I'll call Kim Roby. He's the first one I thought to call, and because it wasn't really a fire, but I was like, Kim, I described what I was smelling, a very pungent odor, and this yellowish, smoky haze, and some smoke coming up across the street. So he said, I'll call dispatch and see if we can get somebody to call you. So anyway, about 8 o'clock, about 45 minutes later, I guess, after I hung up from Kent, I get a call from Leah George. And anyway, I told him about it. So anyway, he called me the next morning, which was Saturday, and said that he had dispatched a guy. He's got, as I understand it, 4 people who are on call, not all at the same time. I believe that's correct. And one of this guy was from down Lynchburg at the Lynchburg Airport. And so the guy had to go to Falling Creek to get a vehicle, and then he got to the site of this complaint, which by this time was, by best I can tell from talking to Janet, who called me today, was around 9:30. Well, of course, by then, the fire had gone out. And from what I understand, Mr. George told me that it was nothing more than a campfire. And here's what really gets me, is he stood before us and talked about how they promptly handled citizen complaints and matters of public, let's say, endangerment. But I mean, I don't really think I suffered any pulmonary damage from this stuff, but it was really nauseating. It was such a putrid smell. I live on 65 acres. I didn't want to be outside, and I'm out in the country. I don't live in town. And to be told by Mr. George that this was nothing more than a campfire, like, give me a break, dude. I've been in campgrounds where everybody had campfires burning around, and it was a pleasant time. This was not at all pleasant. This was extremely annoying. So, come to find out, I think that the process from our fire marshals needs to be refined or improved, because for this guy to have to take over an hour to respond to a complaint, it was like, might as well not even gone. And it was very disappointing to me, and to be told that it was a campfire, I might have been born at night, but it won't last night. So like I said, the performance of the fire marshal's office was very disappointing.
Anybody else have anything? If not, County Administrator report, anything, Mr. Hiss?
Just two just kind of announcements. One, I think we put this was out on our Facebook and other social media channels. I know a lot of folks have concerns and opinions about the traffic on Forest, on Route 221 through Forest. So the Central Virginia Transportation Planning Organization, which is through the Plan District Commission, VDOT, and a contractor, EPR, is conducting a kind of a town hall type drop-in meeting at Forest Middle School on Thursday, September 12th from 5 to 7 to provide comments and concerns about different segments along 221 that are impacted with traffic and so forth. This is just basically to get comments and concerns to plan future improvements along that stretch of highway. So anyways, it's kind of a public open house being sponsored by the Transportation Planning Organization in our region. Second item, and again, check that out on our social media channels. The other one is just an announcement. Looks like it's going to be a very nice event. First time we've ever done this. It's kind of led through cooperation through the Parks and Rec Department and Cooperative Extension and a number of other partners in the community. The Blue Ridge Bee Festival is going to be at Fallen Creek Park on September 14th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's going to be workshops and demos and guest speakers about bees and honey and so forth, but also just a whole bunch of other vendors that will be related to agriculture and those types of related professions and industries. Something like 50 plus vendors, 8 plus food trucks, children activities and so forth. So just, I think it's going to be an interesting and potentially popular festival Saturday. So that's all I have.
What time is that meeting on Thursday?
Bob, it's It's at Forest Middle School, not exactly sure where at Forest Middle School, but Forest Middle School from 5 to 7 p.m. on Thursday evening.
Because I actually, a lady approached me about this afternoon. She was complaining about that problem.
Yeah, so this is specifically kind of looking at kind of the corridor between Perryville Road and Graves Mill Road, so that kind of section.
Anything from you, Mr. Stoddard?
Yes, sir. One item for the board and for the public. FEMA's in the process of updating their flood insurance maps and the flood insurance study. That's kicking off tomorrow. We're meeting with the consultant. They're doing some other neighboring jurisdictions as well, so you may see it in other areas. But preliminary maps will be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. I know we followed a 30-day community review and response period, and then more will be following as far as ordinance adoption, maps adoption, things like that. But the last time these were done was in 2010, so I don't know what really to expect on the changes, but we'll certainly share those as we get into it and with that for our departments.
So they've already done their physical site work.
I believe so.
I think this is
Yes.
where they were showing up
Yeah.
on people's property the
Yes.
last year or two.
Yes, we're gonna to kick off with their consultants tomorrow afternoon, so I should have some more information after that and the timeline, what they're looking at as far as issuing that 30-day review period and along the lines of that.
Mr. Lawhorn, anything?
Good.
All right.
Sure.
Good. Mr. Skelly, anything?
Nothing further this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
In light of Robert telling us about the bee festival this weekend, and with the sheriff being here, I think it's prudent for us to point out that if you go to this bee festival, keep in mind that buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hey, board information, you've got VRWA minutes in your packets. Let's see. You want to go through the calendar and reminders for this?
I know that September 23rd is our next board meeting. We'll have a work session that evening. Just a reminder, that will be the Board of Supervisors wanted the staff to really analyze the funding and propose some different options and solutions regarding fire and EMS, particularly about volunteer agencies. So that'll be the work session that we talk about all that to kind of get that discussion rolling. So that will be the main topic on the work session that evening. Then we'll have a regular meeting, and then I'll have a calendar in front of me. I think it's October 15th is the next meeting. Just remember that that's the day after Columbus Day, and that'll have an annual joint work session with the Economic Development Authority that evening.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Scott to adjourn. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Parker. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?